So I've been playing a lot of Overwatch Classic recently, and I gotta say that somehow over 8 years of Overwatch, 8 years of patches, 8 years of content, they are still managing to produce a game that is genuinely worse than the first patch ever released for the game. Now that's obviously subjective, and a lot of people are going to disagree, and obviously there are things that are obviously better about the game that we have now, being that the quality of life changes we had over those 8 years are important. Like, a lot of the heroes were clunky. Genji dash especially is very clunky. If you dash into a wall or a floor, you get camera locked. And then obviously you have Bastion as well, who, when you go into turret config, he can't really move his camera around at all, which is annoying. But I'm not necessarily talking about all that when I say that it's better than what we have now, because obviously what we have now is more heroes, more maps, more game modes, more polish in general. So technically, what we have now is better than Classic in terms of those things, absolutely. However, I would say that Overwatch Classic is almost objectively a superior gameplay experience, because in Overwatch Classic, you have infinitely more player agency. The teamwork is obviously more impactful, infinitely more impactful in fact, but also less important, which is very valuable. You don't need copious amounts of teamwork to get anything done, like you do in Overwatch 2 to some degree. However, if you do utilize teamwork, it's extremely valuable. You actually are able to carry the game in a ton of different ways. You obviously have, like I said before, you have natural solo carry potential through your raw mechanical ability due to the fact there is less healing in the game, and that your damage is obviously more valuable, whereas in Overwatch 2, it's pretty common to get 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 damage per elim, because shit never dies, and the reason nothing ever dies is because the only viable way to kill anything is through extremely high burst damage, which is not fun, because the supports are so insanely OP. I'll go over this again one last time, because I say it every time I talk about 5v5 and 6v6. A big reason the supports are so OP in 5v5 is because there is not an off-tank to mitigate the duels happening in the backline anymore, so the supports have to be inherently stronger to make sure that they are able to survive the solo dive, because they don't have peel from an off-tank. Not only that, they need to actually keep their main tank alive while they're surviving all the peel. So they're getting dove, they need to save themselves from the dive, and they need to keep their team alive, which means they need to be insanely powerful to do all of that at the same time. But due to that fact, it also means that every other role in the game that goes against these support heroes lack player agency again, because the supports just mitigate everything for free by default. This obviously applies to the other roles as well. The tank roles having 1,000,000 HP, obviously extremely problematic. It removes a lot of player agency from the other roles. You're not able to fight them anymore. You're not really able to stop them from just kind of rolling your team anymore. The only way is to counterpick, and the counterpicking is incentivized by the fact that they like to buff heroes continuously and make it so the gap between them is skewed even larger. A big reason counterpicking is unimportant in the Overwatch Classic mode, which I will say is 100% true. I commonly go against 5 Winstons, 6 Torbs, things like that. Even some cases, like 5 Mercies on 1 Genji, something like that. 5 Mercies on 1 McCree. And it all doesn't matter. You're still able to do things, because through mechanical ability, through your positioning, through your timing, through your engages, your teamwork, your ult usage, through everything that you could possibly do to give you an advantage, there is a large chance that you're able to turn that into a kill or into a potential kill for your teammates by creating opportunities, because your mechanical skill is actually rewarded due to the fact that your damage is more important in this game, because healing is obviously less so, and things are squishier in general, but also weaker in general. And the fact that they are weaker, it makes everything have a much smaller gap between each other. When something is underperforming in Overwatch 2, the best solution is not necessarily to buff it, it's to nerf what makes its environment so weak. For example, Genji is actually not that bad of a hero. However, he is made terrible by a hero by things like Moira being a good hero with just like 30 lifesteal per second, and you've always got the 20-meter range, and you've got the 65 damage per second, and things like that, where Genji doesn't necessarily lose to that on paper, but a Moira player playing well will also never die to a Genji due to the fact that she's got a 6-second escape ability on a 6-second cooldown on a support hero with massive amounts of healing and massive amounts of damage, because the game is so terribly balanced in that direction, and it shouldn't be that way, but it is that way. And going back to Classic goes to show the game is better when things are weaker, the game is better when there is more player agency, the game is better in 6v6, the game is better when you reward teamwork more, the game is better when you reward mechanical skill more, and things like that. And the game is worse when you base the skill purely off the player's ability to understand what hero to pick at the time, what exactly they should be doing, exactly what moment, purely due to the fact that they're counterpicking and winning the game, or winning for free by using massive mitigation abilities that just win by default, because the character has to be that way because of how they've buffed everything around it in its environment, making the character completely unviable without those massive stat buffs. However, when you make those massive stat buffs, you obviously increase the gap between that and the heroes in its class, making that hero less effective, or making the heroes around that hero less effective, which is obviously problematic for the game, because then it grows the ability to counterpick, which ruins the competitive integrity in the game in the first place. Classic goes to mitigate that, like I said, by the fact that you have more impact on the game. Now, a lot of people are going to go, yeah, well, in 6v6, you're technically less percentage of the population of the lobby, therefore you would have less impact overall, due to the fact there are more potential plays getting made because there are more players. That obviously makes sense on paper. However, life isn't about what works on paper. The game inherently is more impactful in 6v6 due to the fact that, typically speaking, the power is spread among more players. Therefore, there is greater opportunity for you as a player to take advantage of those weaknesses that are created by the fact that there are inherently more players. Therefore the power is shifted between 6 players, not 5, which means that if you're able to actually do what you're meant to be doing, you hit your mechanical skill, you are able to utilize your skill shot properly, you're able to game sense yourself into a good situation, that would mean that you're actually able to win the game based entirely off of yourself, unlike in 5v5 where everything is so mega buffed to the point where you have borderline no player agency outside of full counterpicking, which is extremely problematic for the game. So I love Overwatch Classic. It's not perfect, not at all. It's not even great, to be honest. It's got a lot of problems, got a lot of clunk, it's got a lot of jank, it's not balanced. Widowmaker, Diva, Hog, all of these things insanely unbalanced. Torb to some degree, extremely unbalanced. May, extremely unbalanced. But none of these things matter that these things are insanely unbalanced to me, because I can actually still play. I'm against, let's say I'm against, it doesn't even matter, 6 Widowmakers. That's really, really hard. But I dash in, I hit my combo, I get a kill. I take a nice angle maybe, I dash in another Widowmaker, I hit my angle, I get a kill. That can happen in Classic, because there's no Suzu, there's no life grip, there's no immortality, there's no 5 billion mitigating damage ability on the tank roll that they just press a button, then all of a sudden you're really fast, and then you're getting overhealth, and you're getting damage mitigation, you're getting all this bullshit that you need to get. I take my fight while I have an advantage, I utilize my advantage in that 1v1 to secure a kill, and there's nothing anyone can do about it, because that player made a mistake, and I made a good play, therefore I am rewarded, and they are punished, as the game should be. Unlike in the current iteration of the game, where it's just a big cooldown fest of, he pressed this button, I press this button, they press that button, I press this button, and nothing ever happens, because the game is extremely boring. You have no player agency in 5v5 at all. And even then, in the earlier seasons of 5v5, you had more player agency because things were weaker. But now that things are buffed, things are obviously worse off because the devs don't understand how to balance their game. So, Overwatch Classic isn't perfect, like I said, but hopefully all the Overwatch 2 players that are coming to the game and have maybe never played Overwatch 1 were able to catch a small glimpse of what we used to have and are able to realize, yeah, this is better. I like when I shoot things, they die. I like when I heal things, they survive. I like when I ult things, My ult is impactful. I like when I shoot the tank, I gain ult charge. I like that the tank is killable. I like that I'm able to 1v1 the tank hero. I like that my ult builds pretty quickly. I like my ability to solo carry the game. Like, basically every objective metric is superior in this format when it comes to having a good experience, because the game is better understood by the devs of its time. Even though they still had no idea what they were doing, they knew more of an idea of what they were doing than these devs did. Clearly, because this patch came out 8 years ago. And it's better than what we have now. Think about that for a minute. This game, the patch we're currently playing on this Overwatch Classic, came out 8 years ago. 8 years ago. 2016. And yet, after 8 years of patches, hero releases, game modes, maps, events, skins, anything else, it is objectively, in my opinion, now I know that's not how objectively works, but I would say actually, you know what, fuck it. Objectively, it is a superior experience when it comes to solo impact and player agency. That is indisputable. Absolutely indisputable. Therefore, it's a better experience to me. All they have to do is add some more heroes, balance it slightly better, maybe add role queue, but at this point, I don't mind open queue. The self-heal passive from Season 9 mitigates a lot of the problems of open queue, being that you didn't have a support hero, but now I can go solo heal. I can go grab a health pack while I solo heal. I don't need to go for the mega anymore. I can get a mini and heal up halfway while I'm on the way. Right? I don't need to go so far out of position to go get the mega, because I can get the mini now. And it's just better. I'm just going to say it. I think the worst state of 6v6 is better than the best state of 5v5. And I don't think I could have my mind changed on that. I'd love for someone to try, but I've played every iteration of 6v6. I've played every iteration of 5v5. And so far, 6v6 wins out. By far. Because it's way better. I just hope the Overwatch Classic mode sticks around for a long time, because it's way better than what we have on live servers. The live patch is terrible. This is incredible. I like that when I dash on people, if I hit my shots and they're out of position, I kill them. Or if I pull out my blade and the Zarya bubbles badly, I kill them. It feels good. I can actually play the game. It feels weird to play Overwatch in 2024 and have the ability to actually carry the game. And all I'm saying is, I'm loving this Classic event. It's the greatest thing they've done in a very long time. I hope it sticks around. I hope they realize this is a better state of the game and this is what we want. And even go on the forums. All the Overwatch 2 players are like, dude, I can kill shit. You know, like, things actually die. I can ult, and I don't immediately die. There's not emos everywhere. Like, all of these players are realizing how good we used to have it. And we did have to have it good. We obviously we did have it good. It's just a shame that we don't have this anymore. They balance and change things for the sake of change. Not because it's good for the game. Not because it's correct. They don't understand their game. They don't understand how to balance it. They've never understood how to balance it. Over the course of 8 years. Over all of the different dev changes, after the change of management, everything. Not a single iteration of the entire dev team or management team in the history of the game has understood what their game is, how to balance it, or why it's good. And that's a shame. So I'm just saying it now. If you gave me 1 or 2 weeks to sit down by myself or even with some other people, I can guarantee I would balance the game and give you an Overwatch Classic-like experience, full of player agency, full of solo carry potential, full of synergy, full of rewarding teamwork, full of good maps, good game modes, everything. I guarantee I could create the best Overwatch experience we've had in years. Maybe not ever, but definitely that we've had in years, in a couple of weeks. Because I understand the game, and the devs do not. Anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying Classic as much as I am. And I hope that you're playing it as much as I am, because it shows the devs that we like it. And hopefully 5v5 disappears in the future and it's replaced with 6v6. Hopefully Overwatch 1 style gameplay comes back where I have a lot of player agency, hopefully a lot of the MMOs are reworked. But that's wishful thinking, because it's likely not going to happen. Anyway, have a good day, guys. I love you. Mwah. Goodbye. Have a good day. Mwah. Goodbye. Goodbye. Have a good day. Mwah. Goodbye.